Welcome back to Chukitable Media.
This is the period that I bring to you the headlines of newspapers all around the world, starting from Nigeria. You can see newspapers like the Tribune, the Daily Times, the Authority, the Standard Times, This Nigeria, the News Hub, the Leadership, Daily Assets, the Business NG, This Day, and all the rest. You also have the headlines from the business news, Business Day, the Business NG, and all the rest. Sit back and enjoy. You also have some foreign newspapers headlines in this episode. Sit back, pick the headlines the way you see it. You can also go out there and pick the newspapers as you want and make a big mini out of all these headlines. Thank you for listening. Chukitable Media. See me at the end of the headlines.
All right, let's start this morning. Of course, we know what would occupy front pages, as we'll continue to see. Nigerian pilot starts with protest. Don't copy Kenyans. DHQ wants Nigerians not to copy what's happening in Kenya, maintain peace, cautions them to desist from fanning embers of anarchy. Another one there says no government will condone destructive demonstrations, Tinubu tells U.S. envoy on page 9.
Okay, let's see how this Nigeria is leading this morning. Protest march. Government won't condone a loss of lives, destruction of property. Tinubu warns. Wike, don't come near FCT. President addressing hunger. Sultan of Sokoto, Ooni of Ife, other monarchs caution organizers on possible hijack of protests. Everything is about protest there. You can check out details on page 4 of this Nigeria. 5 workers die as Lagos building under construction collapses. Owner of building still at large, says Lasema.
Well, New National Star is leading with that bold story of sadness, one of the passing of Emmanuel Iwanyanwu. In 18 months, Ohaneze Ndigbo loses 2 Imo-born President General in a row. Both spent less than 2 years in office, died after brief illness. Tinubu, Buhari, Ohaneze, others mourn. You also see their bottom story, fighting brain drain, reps direct nursing council to resume verification of members on page 2.
Let's see the Daily News Hub. DSS identifies hashtag End Bad Governance protest sponsors, warns against action. Also, End Bad Governance hashtag is also the lead. Tinubu makes a last-ditch effort to avert nationwide protests, meets with governors, traditional rulers, others.
The authority is leading with the hashtag End Bad Governance. I was a protester, Tinubu admits, but peaceful, he says, ones against violence. You also see there gari, beans, yams, other food prices increased by 180%, and that's coming from NBS page 6.
All right, the Standard Times, a nationwide protest is also the lead. DHQ, DSS, a warn against action. We have identified the organizers, DSS reveals. Other stories are, okay, so which one? 5 die as building under construction collapses in Lagos is also making the paper.
Friday leadership this Friday looks at protest. States beef up security as Tinubu meets governors. Military DSS vow to resist violence. Hijack of rally. I am not averse to peaceful demonstration, says Tinubu. Protest won't hold in FCT. Wike declares. Protect organizers. TUC urges government. You also want to see that at both the mastheads, Senate vows to expose saboteurs in oil sectors.
Okay, troops, vigilance group kill over 100 bandits in Niger State, cheering one coming on the People's Daily. Page 5 is where you can find details. Unlawful detention will no longer be tolerated. AGF warns security agents. That's on page 6 of the paper. An interesting one there, really.
Very, very. Well, Daily Asset is saying protest military will not allow anarchy, terror to destroy Nigeria, DHQ. And you also want to see bottom page. Tinubu mourns Emmanuel Iwanyanwu, says elder statesman man will be remembered for his remarkable legacy, and that's on page 2.
The Nigerian Tribune, planned protest is the lead. DHQ, that's the defense headquarters, the DSS, warn against anarchy, identify sponsors. On page 2 is where you find details. It's an invitation to anarchy, reign of terror, they say.
And this day, this morning, looks at traditional rulers, clerics, ulamas mobilize against hardship protest. And then at both masthead, you also see local government autonomy. INEC has capacity to conduct local government polls, says chairman on page 8.
The Business NG, Naira devaluation, Nigerian banks and forex gains spark economic concerns. That's on page 4. Investors shun commercial papers, corporate bonds, 23.6%, 97.6% drop. Rates hike force corporates to shun capital market. That's coming from experts.
Business Day, Dangote NMPC rift, petrol imports from Malta hit $2 billion, up 43 times in 10 years, rise by over $1.9 billion after 5 years of lull. You also want to see that story above the masthead. Nigeria targets $500 million from diaspora in August. Debt service crashes, revenue rises, and how Nigerians can finance homes without mortgage.
What is so prominent in these newspapers that you have seen now is that the government are running around trying to beg the protesters, begging the youth not to protest. They are doing all their best to persuade the nation, calling all the traditional rulers, calling everybody they think they can call upon to persuade them to be on their own side. And one thing that you see in this newspaper episode is the tough talking of the security agency, the DSS, the DHQ. They are talking tough. But the question remains, is this the way to handle it? Should you threaten the people? Do you want to say, when you beat the child should not cry? Or is that what you're saying? Because at their own period too, when they were in opposition, these guys were on the street and they protested for political reason. These were mentioned from one of them from their rounds. You can see them now. They are all united. They are calling on all the elites in the country, and they are maintaining their corrupt status quo. The corrupt status quo that is sinking the country further into debt, hunger, insecurity, and hyperinflation. You know what? Why can't we, the recipients of all these actions, also unite in demanding a better country? And why? These are the question. You can also see those people that are enjoying from all this happening in the country. People like Tompolo, people like Kwankwanso telling you not to protest. Imams and the traditional rulers are telling you not to protest. Tinubu is meeting up and down to quell the protest. I think all these people are listed. They should have been the ones to tell the president or those people in power and telling them, you know, that things are not all right in the country, instead of preaching to the people to stop the protest, instead of finding a means to persuade the people. You know, you can also see them even when they fall back of the protest, if eventually it happens, force on them. These are the people we're supposed to face. These are the people the citizens supposed to face, because now they are calling themselves together, and you can easily identify those behind the problems of Nigeria. These are the prominent news now on the headlines of the newspaper during the week. Even this weekend you will see the same thing. And right now, majority of them are leaving the country. They are on the run. They are on the run. They are running away. They are running away, really. I mean, the politicians and all these elites and the prominent people, they are leaving now, while the citizens are expecting the Oro thing to come out on the 1st of August. Check out with me. I'm going to make a special program on this Oro thing. Put your own comment in the comment section if you agree with me on this. And if you have solution to the problems that is happening in Nigeria, you can also come up and give the solution that you think it can help the country or help the people. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This is DISUNITED Media. Thank you for listening, and God bless you as you do.